Hello YouTube. Of all the gods and deities in the Elder Scrolls universe, there is one that almost no one knows about, Xrib or Xrib. The thing or deity that's worshipped by the blind and twisted Falmer. Now today I want to explore what we know and what we don't know about this strange deity and its worship. And before we start, I just really want to quickly warn you that some of the things that I'm going to describe in this video may be a bit disturbing, and some of the visuals of the video are some of the more disturbing things that we see in any of the Elder Scrolls games. So viewer discretion advised, and with that said, let's delve into the video. So, the Falmer, the twisted and blind descendants of the Snow Elves that were tortured and poisoned by the Dwarves or Dwemer over the course of centuries after being blinded, leading to them devolving into the twisted forms that we encounter in the games. Their story is quite tragic, and for the full story on their betrayal and devolving, I recommend watching my dedicated video on them, which is in the description. But what's important to know for this video is that at the very end of the Dawnguard questline in Skyrim, Knight Paladin Galabor says that he's noticing a rise of intelligence of the blind and twisted creatures, and that they are becoming more organized and that they are becoming smarter again after eons of devolving. One part of this advancement in their intelligence seems to be a somewhat organized society and somewhat organized religion. You see, the Falmer seem to be loosely organized in tribes with warriors, workers, leaders, and crucially also shamans, which are Falmer who practice magic and seem to fulfill some sort of religious duty within their tribe and society. And in Skyrim's concept art, the Falmer shaman is also literally called the Falmer priestess, which again points towards some religious function within their society. Now, what it exactly is that they worship is unclear, and we only have the vaguest notion of what their religion is all about. But in Skyrim, in the cave dungeon The Sightless Pit, which is a Falmer-infested dungeon, we can find a cave with the area name the Temple of Xrib, which is a Dwemer ruin in a big glittering cave, much like Blackreach. Now, the cave itself is quite beautiful, but when I first saw that name, the Temple of Xrib, I was like, who is Xrib? Well, it turns out that Xrib is most likely the name that the Falmer have given to the thing or deity that they worship. In fact, in the game's code and in the official Skyrim game guide, there's another location related to Xrib, and it's practically on top of the Sightless Pit, and it's this Dwemer structure that's now being used as an altar to Xrib, and in the official game guide the place is literally called Altar to Xrib. Now, who exactly this Xrib is, we don't know, but there are three prevailing theories so far. The first theory is that it's a completely unique deity to the Falmer that we've otherwise never heard of, and perhaps it's even related to the insect god that the Ayleids used to worship and that we know even less about than we know about Xrib. While that's possible, I personally lean towards any of the two other theories, where the Falmer have ascribed the name Xrib to an already existing deity. The first deity mentioned in these theories is that the Falmer actually worshipped the Daedric prince Namira, Daedric prince of decay, hunger, dark and death. The reason for this theory is that around any Falmer altar that we find, including the Temple of Xrib, we can find human, elf, Argonian and Khajiit sacrifices, meaning that they basically sacrifice the intelligent races, often in a torturous and painful manner while mutilating their bodies. We can see the results of this around their shrines, and we can see how after their sacrifices they put the body parts of those people that they sacrificed on stakes as a sort of religious totem. Very disturbing stuff, but that's a bit similar to the manner of worship used by some cults of Namira, which is what led to a lot of people speculating that Xrib is actually the Falmer name for the Daedric prince Namira. Now, the second theory stems mostly from these totem shrines that we can find in some Falmer locations, as people say that this totem, created out of Chaurus insect parts, is supposed to be Xrib, and those same people have observed that, hey, this religious totem looks very much like some religious totems to the Daedric Prince of Knowledge, Hermaeus Mora, and it even kinda resembles how he looks in the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. The theory then goes that it was Hermaeus Mora who somehow communicates with the Falmer shamans in their own language and taught them the magic that they can use, which is why they then worship him. However, sacrifices are not really his thing, that's more Namira's thing, but it's still very possible that the sacrifices are simply a cruelty added to his worship by the twisted Falmer, and that he just doesn't really care and just lets them do whatever. But I still highly lean towards the Namira theory. That being said, whoever Xrib is, their magic is quite useful for the Falmer, as in the Temple of Xrib we can see that any Falmer or Chaurus that dies on the big altar in the glittering cave is resurrected, possibly by the altar's pillars. So that's pretty interesting and kind of opens a fourth theory. And that is that Xrib really isn't a deity, but rather just strange Dwemer magic in that specific altar, and that the Falmer just don't fully understand that magic and that they just decided to start worshipping that magic as a god. But then that does not explain the shrines and similar worship all around Skyrim, so I suppose it's a matter of pick your theory, whichever you think is most likely. Me personally, I'm going with the Namira theory. That being said, that's about all that we know and that I can reasonably theorize on Xrib and the Falmer religion. However, I've got just one little last piece for you, if you'll indulge me, and that's a bit of theory or headcanon by JustinYa91 on the Elder Scrolls Reddit. A theory that I personally really like, but that we have zero evidence for, so just take it as a bit of amusing headcanon. His theory goes that whatever deity Xrib is, the Falmer started worshipping it after going mad and after their prayers to their original snow elf gods went unanswered as they were being tortured by the Dwemer. They prayed and prayed, but their gods remained silent, and then some shaman or priest came up with Xrib, whatever Xrib was, around the time of the Dwemer disappearing from Nirn, and when their slavers suddenly disappeared, the guy or gal who came up with Xrib was hailed as some sort of savior, and Xrib became their deity. Again, we have zero evidence for this, I just really like the theory. That being said, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video and that I managed to teach you something new about the Elder Scrolls universe today. And if I did, why not give the video a like, as that's how the YouTube algorithm decides which content is worthy and which isn't. And for the past 3 weeks I've been in my bed with an infection in my head, so I'm just glad that I finally feel well enough again to record a video. More to come soon. Anyway, all that's left for me to be done is to thank my top Patreon supporters, Mr. Bernardo Binda, Gabriel Binda, Doji, Hunter Joe, KLegendM, King Chris 20, RB Dash, Volkir of Argonia, Devin Mattingly, Rakai and Sword of Bushido. These people, along with all the others on screen, keep my channel afloat, and for that I am very grateful. That said, I will see you all in the next Elder Scrolls lore video, probably next week.